Winds News Time, 9:21. It's time for traffic and transit with Kelly Dillon.
We have a mess in New Jersey. There's an overturned tractor trailer on westbound 78 into Route 287. That's exit 29 in Bridgewater. It takes up 2 right lanes. Traffic is at a standstill, so head to Route 22 instead. The New York State Thruway starting to really back up on the northbound side of Suffern into exit 15. A car fire here. This one getting extinguished, but again blocking at least a lane. So traffic there quickly starting to back up on the Thruway. In Staten Island, the westbound Staten Island Expressway at Bradley Ave, a crash in the left lane still wrapping up. Still stop and go traffic into that spot. Here's what we see on Long Island's Big 3 in Nassau tonight. Luckily, we're quiet now. The LIE, the Northern and Southern State Parkways, all 3 moving well. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Heading to the outbound Gorge, we have at least a 20-minute backup still. Luckily, inbound just minor slowdowns across the upper deck span and much better on the lower levels. And not too bad either way at the Lincoln or Holland. You can head there instead. I'm feeling our next report at 9:31. 1010 Winds at 92.3 FM.
Atlanta police just confirming the officer shot trying to stop a gunman on the campus of Emory University has died from his injuries. DeKalb County Police Chief Greg Padrick just delivering the news.
We're asking for the community's prayers for his family, his friends, his loved ones, and the entire DeKalb County Police Department family. It's a noble profession that we all do. We answer the call to serve our community, and he gave his life with a commitment to serve others. And he should be respected for that.
And shots were fired and heard on the campuses of Emory University and at the nearby Centers for Disease Control and Prevention at about 6 this evening. No students or staff at Emory were injured. Police say the gunman was shot dead. He was found on the 2nd floor of a building across the street from the CDC. There are reports that he may have been targeting the CDC. The shooter was armed with a long gun. Authorities recovered 3 other firearms at the scene. Still a very active scene tonight.
Justice for my trial! Justice for my trial! Justice for my trial! Justice for my trial!
Calls for justice for little Montrell Williams. The 2-year-old boy from the Bronx was found dead in the East River in June. And now his mother says she's suing the NYPD for $60 million for her son's wrongful death. The boy's father, Arius Williams, has been charged with his murder. He was arrested after failing to return his son to the boy's mother after a scheduled visitation on May 11th. His mother says police moved too slowly, even though she reported him missing the next day. Cops say that she says the police didn't take real action until weeks later. Montrell's grandmother, Octavia Ronay, spoke to Winds.
We made several calls to 911. Calls for the police, and nothing was done throughout the course of the whole month. Nothing was done. We shouldn't have had to go outside ourselves looking for our child.
The NYPD issued a statement saying we will review the lawsuit if and when it's filed. Montrell Williams was murdered on May 10th. The initial complaint was not reported to the NYPD until May 11th. The feds taking a close look at 2 lawsuits involving New York Attorney General Letitia James, ordering subpoenas to see if any legal lines were crossed between her, President Trump, and the NRA.
New York Attorney General Letitia James' office has been subpoenaed as the Department of Justice is looking into records tied with her civil case, which was against President Trump, and her lawsuit against the NRA. The feds are looking into if James violated Trump's civil rights in any way, as Trump is accusing her of filing politically motivated lawsuits. But James' office is not backing down. In a statement, a spokesperson saying any weaponization of our justice system should disturb every American. Her attorney also is calling this a dangerous escalation by the Trump administration. Mary Lynn Buckley, 1010 Wings on 92.3 FM.
The flash flooding that swept through Bayside and other parts of Queens last week caught a lot of people off guard. Now some officials want to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Street signs here at 212th and Bell Boulevard warning people about flood-prone roads might help, says Queensborough President Donovan Richards.
We need to be working with more information, not less. And even if one person sees that sign and moves their car ahead of a storm, it's worth it.
He says the DOT denied his request. They tell me they're looking into it.
They did it over by Lake Francis Lewis.
That's what Mike Brown now calls his neighborhood. He had to go to the ER cleaning up. after last week's flooding.
You can put all the pumps you want. I had 3 pumps going. 1 died, so there were 2. Where do you pump it to?
6 inches of rain fell here in just a few hours. Mac Rosenberg, 1010 wins on 92.3 FM in Bayside.
And now it's time for Bloomberg Money Watch.
Wall Street reacted to solid corporate results as well as hopes the U.S. and Russia can reach a deal to end the war in Ukraine, with the Nasdaq reaching a new record after gaining 1%. Meanwhile, the S&P 500 just missing its all-time high after gaining 0.8%, while the Dow finished up 0.5%. President Trump is removing Billy Long as the head of the IRS just 2 months after being confirmed. According to an official, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent will oversee the agency as acting commissioner. Long was considered an unusual choice to lead the IRS due to not having a background in tax policy. Under Armour's turnaround plan has stalled as the athletic wear brand forecasts worse than expected sales and profit for the current quarter. Revenue for the second quarter is expected to fall between 6 and 7%, while analysts on average have projected a drop of almost 3%. Under Armour expects tariffs to add around $100 million in cost this fiscal year and anticipates profitability for this year to be half of what it was last year. Bloomberg Money Watch at 26 and 56 past every hour. I'm Dan Schwartzman for 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Right now we have clear skies and 70 degrees. This is 1010 Wins, New York's one and only all-news station. Good evening. I'm Suzanne Colucci. Wins News Time, 9:30.
Good evening. I'm Mario Bosques. On this weekend of the 6 years since the death of Jeffrey Epstein, a New York congressman wants to strengthen the Federal Crime Victims Act to ensure victims are notified of any non-prosecution agreements and give them the right to sue the government if they're not.
The Epstein Crime Victims Act would force the federal government to involve the victims in any plea deal. Democratic Congressman Richie Torres referring to a so-called sweetheart deal in 2007 in Miami that let Jeffrey Epstein go free.
Alexander Acosta withheld the non-prosecution agreement from the crime victims in violation of federal law.
Epstein's partner, Ghislaine Maxwell, is using the NDA to claim immunity and have her New York conviction overturned. The case is now before the Supreme Court. Marla Diamond, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM in the Bronx.
An advocacy group, Democracy Forward, is suing the Justice Department and the FBI for access to the records detailing how the sex trafficking in the Jeffrey Epstein case was handled. The lawsuit described as the first of its kind. Wins News Time 9:31. Time for traffic and transit to check in with Kelly Dillon.
An overturned tractor trailers on westbound 78 in New Jersey tonight at exit 29 for 287 in Bridgewater. The 2 right lanes are out. Traffic is at a standstill into exit 33, so head to Route 22 instead. We do have a crash now wrapping up in Staten Island on the westbound Staten Island Expressway by Bradley Ave. Delay slowly starting to ease up here. We're also a bit busy still in Brooklyn. The BQE stop and go each way at Atlantic Ave. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Getting to the outbound George, we do have about a 20-minute backup still. Looks like a crash reported on the upper deck under the apartments. Inbound, some rubbernecking on the upper level. Lower decks are better and not too bad right now at the Lincoln or Holland. Traffic in transit every 10 minutes and breaking traffic alerts when they happen. I'm feeling 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Now, the AccuWeather 4-day forecast with meteorologist Brian Thompson.
The sky will be clear tonight, and it's going to be a comfortable night for this time of year, down to 64 in the city, to be in the 50s in many cooler suburbs. Temperatures pretty similar to what we saw last night, and that's going to be the case again tomorrow. Very similar weather to today. A beautiful day with sunshine and a few clouds mixed in. Tomorrow's high will be around 83. Mainly clear for tomorrow night, low 67 in the city. It'll be closer to 60 in most suburbs. Now, by Sunday, it will be a warmer day. Highs will get into the upper 80s, but the humidity will stay low with sunshine and some clouds. By Monday, it's going to be pretty hot with a good deal of sunshine and a high of 91. And the humidity is going to be increasing as that heat persists into the early part of next week. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Brian Thompson on New York's weather station, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Hey Yankees fans, come out to Yankee Stadium on Sunday, September 7th for a special celebration. It's C.C. Sabathia, Replica Hall of Fame Plaque Day, and the first 40,000 guests in attendance will receive a C.C. Sabathia Replica Hall of Fame plaque presented by WFAN. Tickets are going fast. Visit Yankees.com/tickets today. Welcome back Hall of Famer C.C. Sabathia on Sunday, September 7th. Buy tickets now at Yankees.com/tickets.
Cleaner water bringing new critters off of Long Island, sometimes making, though, for a shark scare.
Garrett Chelius is the head of maritime services here in the town of Huntington, and he says calls have been coming in for shark sightings. But really what people are seeing are cow and bullnose rays.
Which indicates that there's a healthy clam, snail, mollusk population, because that's what they're going to feed on. The waters must be clean enough they wouldn't go into polluted waters.
Ariella Christine Bronski runs out of her home every day at low tide to try and get a glimpse of them in the water behind her home.
I started filming, taking photos, and they were quite large. I would say about 4 feet.
They do sting, so do not touch or get too close to them. Sophia Hall, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM in Huntington, Long Island.
A different fish story in Connecticut, where fishermen say they caught a huge 700-pound shark, being described as a monster, rightfully so, which could break the record for the largest shark caught in the waters off Connecticut. The catch by Ed Lovely from Hampton, described as a thresher at 16 and a half feet, taking 6 hours to reel in, headed now to the dinner table. A terrifying killer bee attack for a man from Utah, Richard Maccabee, 78, was stung about 500 times while on vacation in Mexico and trying to rescue his dog from the swarm. Stephen Maccabee, his son.
He has worked with bees before. He is a beekeeper, but being attacked by 500 is a different story.
His dog, though, did not survive the attack. He was left with severe injuries. Commander of the 1970 Apollo 13 mission astronaut James Lovell has passed away.
It was Christmas Eve, 1968. Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, and Bill Anders became the first humans to circle the moon. 35 years later, Lovell told CBS News the sight was striking.
The moon was all shades of gray, absolutely no color. Millions of craters that looked like plaster of Paris that had been, struck millions of times by a pick of some sort.
The crew's reading of Genesis
God called the white day.
turned out to be an uplifting end to what Lovell called an awful year.
If you were a screenwriter, you could have written a better script than what we eventually ended up with.
Lovell would eventually see the moon up close again on Apollo 13.
James Lovell, 97. Scientists say they've discovered a distant black hole 300 million times the size of our sun, the oldest one found so far, likely forming more than 13 billion years ago at the dawn of the universe.
Ready to party!
Ready for a team-up too. Kristen Wiig from Bridesmaids, Jonah Hill to star in Warner Brothers comedy Cut Off, set for the September 26th release, centering on a pair of wealthy siblings. Hilarity, of course, ensues. The August 6th installment of South Park, which mocked Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and Immigration, Customs and Enforcement agents, drew 838 viewers for its initial airing on Comedy Central, almost double those who tuned into the season premiere July 23rd.
I looked out this window and I saw your bike. But you didn't see my face, did you?
I don't think so. Variety is reporting that Cruel Summer Season 3 is in development at Hulu and Freeform, with Olivia Holt returning. The station you know, the people you trust.
The News Watch never stops. This is 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Good evening, 70 degrees at 9:40 on Friday, August the 8th. I'm Mario Bosquez. Here is what's happening.
Justice for my child! Justice for my child!
A Bronx mom filing lawsuit against NYPD saying police could have done more in the death of her son. Gunfire, Emory University in Atlanta. Officials say the gunman is dead. Police officer shot and killed. Multiple arrests at an ICE protest. A new school logo for a Long Island community after a state ban on Native American mascots. Find out their name. Safety and security measures underway for this weekend's Dominican Day Parade. AccuWeather clear, comfortable, 64 in the city, 50s in many cooler suburbs. Wednesday time 9:41, traffic and transit with Kelly Dillon.